Hey guys, I hope you're well. In this video I'll be going over my experience with Flutter and how much I managed to learn in a day. If you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and I'll link my Twitch down below where these happen live. I try and stream once a week on the Saturdays where I'll be trying out different programming languages, frameworks and stuff like that. So if you like this kind of content, make sure to do that, and otherwise enjoy the video. So before jumping into this for the day, I have no prior experience programming in Dart and I have never used Flutter before. My background is mostly in C and C++ programming, and that helped me feel familiar with the syntax a lot. I found that it resembles a lot of C++, so I wasn't too confused about the syntax. One thing I didn't like was how messy the code got very quickly. I prefer having my classes separated into different files. You could probably do that with Dart and Flutter too, but following the tutorials, the files got quite long and the code wasn't very pretty to look at. So that could be me just being inexperienced with it, but I was following the tutorials and it still ended up getting pretty messy, so I'm not too sure about that one. But first of all, when you start off, you make a list of randomly generated names. Well, they're not names, they were just words. And this teaches you to use a list widget, as well as stateless and stateful widgets, and using a external package. But before I could start the tutorials, I decided to switch over to Flutter for Web, which is in a beta channel, because running the emulator and streaming at the same time was just lagging out my PC too much and the builds were taking too long. And that took a while to get up and running on Chrome. My Flutter installation didn't include Dart for some reason, so I had to install that again, and then just had a few problems, but after an hour I was up and running in Chrome. So after about an hour or so of work, I got the first app up and running, which is a randomly generated list of startup names, which teaches you how to download and use a package, an external one, as well as widget interactivity and just a basic understanding of stateful and stateless widgets. You also learn how to change screens, because you can see your favorited ones on the screen to the right. So all in all, pretty cool little app to start off with, nice and generic. So after finishing those first couple of tutorials, someone suggested to check out the cookbooks, and they said that Flutter documentation was really good. So I started doing the layout for that, and how important it is to just figure out how you want to lay out your app before you start coding it. But otherwise, I didn't take too much code to get a nice looking app up and running. So I think it was just after lunch. I was bored of following the tutorials, but I still had to get a better grasp on just how to make an app with Flutter. So I decided that the layout tutorial was a pretty good starting point, and then after that I'd decide which app I wanted to make afterwards. I decided to make the layout app, and the end result is this sort of tutorial, like a tutorial, a tourist board. And so yeah, simple layout, how to position and add padding to different items. And I also added the bottom toolbar, because that's what I needed for my final little app of the day. So I was quite happy with that. That took a while, but it wasn't too bad, just following the tutorial, not complicated at all. Just looking through if there's anything interesting. No, it's just the layout really, which was similar to web stuff. so not complicated if you're used to using Bootstrap. Just columns, rows, and padding. So yeah, pretty simple. For the last app of the day, I wanted to try out and build something of my own. Because I think that's the best way to learn some stuff after a few tutorials. So after a while, I got this up and running. So it's a basic swipe app with two screens: message screen, settings screen, and then the buttons on the bottom that don't work, but I just wanted to get the aesthetic of them really. And the swiping, which was a little bit complicated but not too hard to implement. Basically, you just have a draggable widget and you give it a child. So that could be, you give it another widget as a child. So that could be a button. I put it as cards, which is another widget. So you basically pass it a card to display and then one to display the gray behind it. So what you want to display underneath it. And yeah, you get a pretty easy swiping mechanism. And yeah, so that was the last app of the day. So what I was saying was, one thing I need to get better at is separating the classes into different different files. Excuse me. And then one thing whilst I was doing this was the different screens. Even though I did it in the previous tutorial, I got confused or something. If it had to be stateless or stateful widgets for the different screens. In the end, it was pretty simple to set up. You just listen to the onPressed callback and push your root to the stack, and you change screen, and then you pop it to go back, and that's as simple as that. So that concludes the third app of how much can I learn of Flutter in a day. So 3 in total, and it was about 8 hours streamed. So that does it for the video, guys. Thank you if you made it this far. In conclusion, I did have fun experimenting with Flutter, and I believe it's gaining a lot of popularity at the moment. I see a lot of people talking about it, and I think it'll be a good tool in the future when it starts coming out with more versions, and perhaps when the web branch is released and things like that. The only problem I have with it is the prettiness of the code. I thought that stuff got too long and it wasn't readable very well. Other than that, I think you can save a lot of time developing mobile apps and get up and running pretty quickly. So yeah, I think I'll do more Flutter videos and just learning it in the future. If you do like these kind of coding videos, give it a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And I think I want to continue this series, learning new frameworks and programming languages in a day. This video is kind of disorganized, and it's because it's my first video, and the Twitch clip was 8 hours long, so it was kind of annoying to cut up. But I'll try and be better organized for the next few videos. And yeah, I see a lot of comments on other people's videos of people asking them to live stream their coding sessions, and I can definitely do that. So follow my Twitch down below if you're interested in that sort of stuff. Otherwise, if you made it this far, thanks again for watching and take care.